DNA was just really needed for the younger child, Dion, due to the fact that there's a presumed father.
Oh, okay. All right, Ms. Hernandez, was there a reason I shouldn't go ahead and do some temporary child support going forward for at least at the 20% mark?
Your Honor, actually, it's the older child. It just Ms. Pillars reversed him, understandably. So the older child is the one who has an affidavit of paternity by another man, I believe. Mr. Shepard has been paying child support, not officially, but he has been providing support from the date that the child was born. And in fact, he has had periods of time, even up to a year, where he has kept the children on his own as a result of Ms. Anderson moving without the children of her voluntarily. So we are not opposed. He's never been opposed to providing support. We don't know that the 20% or whatever percentage that guidelines would be appropriate at this time, considering she is contesting his paternity. So of course, whatever the court decides, he'll happily abide by.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let me double check here. Ma'am, are you the one contesting paternity?
We are.
I didn't ask for any paternity tests. Like I said, Dion knew he was the father.
The question was, are you the one contesting paternity, ma'am?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Ms. Hernandez, I'll let you continue. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm not sure where that contest or the issue of paternity came up, because it certainly was never Mr. Shepard's, and he has, as I said, Your Honor, been supporting the children since the day that they were born. They were together for a period of time, and then when she left, he continued to support the kids and actually be the person that they lived with full time. He has, when it's appropriate, we can show payments that he's made via electronic means and methods. Whether or not it was 20%, I don't know. But as I said, if the court feels it's appropriate at this time, he is more than willing to.
I'll tell you what, ma'am, I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that. I want to do a pre-trial on this one, give those DNA tests a chance to come in. So I'm looking at coming back on a pre-trial, either as a special setting next month or a general docket date. And then I can set up, then I can see when we're going to set up a final hearing. But I am going to go ahead and look at a point and add Lighten to represent the children in this matter. And that way the Lighten can give me some feedback on how long he or she thinks she's going to need to this case. And everybody can tell me what they're looking at doing as far as discovery and feedback. So I can get a good idea of what I may have to do one way or the other as far as a scheduling order and a final hearing date. So,
sorry.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm looking at, I'm in May now. Geez, let me get loose to March.
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Shepard was told, I don't know if this is just standard course for the labs to tell the people who are being tested this, but they did tell him it would be 4 to 5 weeks that it would be before they could get results. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah, like I said, that's always go at least 30 days. So I was looking at, and 30 days from now is that spring break, and I don't do court in spring break anymore because lawyers don't show up, parties don't show up, and I have to reset everything, and judges hate that. So let's look at, so I'm probably looking at that last week of March anyway. So that should be plenty of time. And let's see what I got. Do I have a special setting that I can use for you guys? And that way y'all the only one. Let's see, I got, okay, there's March.
Excuse me.
The 9:30 is gone, the 10:30 is gone, 11:30 is gone. I can do a pre-trial setting, which is usually only take about 30 minutes on the Wednesday, the 22nd at 1 p.m. will be the only case, or I can go ahead and set it on the general docket for Thursday, March the 23rd, where you got to hang out with everybody else. So, Ms. Hernandez, most people prefer the special settings because, like I say, you're in and out here in 30 minutes. So,
and I'm completely free on March 22nd.
Okay, then.
That was the special setting date?
That's a special setting date. Ma'am, don't, I see you got your hand raised. That's not the way we work here. I'm getting ready to give you the opportunity to tell the court what else you're asking the court to do here today. But for right now, I'm looking at doing the reset date at that time. I can hear what everyone has to as far as the pretrial requests are going to be done, and with the ad litem and everyone else. So, what's your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I was had a question as far as custody. He was petitioning for custody, I believe.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
he also stated that my children stay with him and that I voluntarily gave my children stay with me.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not looking at right now, ma'am. I'm looking at again for right now. I'm looking at ordering him to pay child support. I'm going to order. No one's going to take the kids. These are older kids, so they're not that old, but they're in school, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so nobody's going to interfere with school for this whole year, so I'm not worried about that, ma'am. So there's not going to be any custody changes imminent. I'm also looking at ordering the dad have a visitation. He's in Bexar County, but this matter is in Bell County, and I'm looking at setting up. I'm not sure if I haven't looked at the schedule. I don't keep up with it as much as I like. Is this the? He lives more than 100 miles away. Is that correct, Ms. Hernandez?
He does, Your Honor. However, he hasn't been able to see his children since December, and that's just a very irregular.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to figure out, no matter what he get, this technically would be, if he's the non-custodial party, this would be his spring break to have the kids for spring break. And of course, I always throw in the whether or not they want the long distance or the once a week, the once a month long distance or the twice a month regular, as far as visitation is concerned. But I usually require, since this is a Bell County case, ma'am, Mr. Anderson, you still live in Bell County?
Yes, sir. The reason I had able to meet up with him is because
I don't need an explanation. I'm sorry, you're not under oath, so I can't. I'm just looking at setting up a visitation at this point, and Ms. Hernandez to drop off and pick up in Bell County, because like I said, he's the one. They're here, and he's the one in Bear, and not vice versa. So I'm looking at having him to come down to Bear County to pick the kids up. To Bell County to pick the kids up. I need to know whether or not these folks get along well enough for me to do it at her residence, or do I need to make it at a local drop off and pick up at the local constabulary? So,
Your Honor, Mr. Shepard doesn't have any problem picking him up at her residence. However, I would like to address that matter, if I may, just very quickly.
I'll make it in a statement, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, and if I would be allowed to, I can ask Ms. Anderson some questions, but it just seems strange that this didn't really start happening, the problem with transportation, until Mr. Shepard began his lawsuit. She's always had transportation before, either on her.
No, that's not.
Stop. I'm going to make it. The norm is pick up and drop off. Sit, mom. This is the county it's in. I'm not going to deviate from that for the rest of the month. Now, when we come back, we can take up something else. That way, I got the ad litem who started her investigation, and it's going to be her. And I can get some testimony from everybody. But until I get that DNA test back, that's what I'm looking at doing, guys. So he can if he wants to make the trip just for spring break, that's fine. If he wants once a month, that's fine. If he wants twice a month, that's fine. But I'm going to make the pick up and drop off here in Bell County.
Understood, Your Honor.
That's straight out of family code. So
I understand.
that's all right. So what, as far as visitation, what is your client like? What do you want? Does he want once a month, or does he want to make the trip twice a month?
So to begin with, I think you mentioned spring break, and yes, he is a teacher, so he would like March 10th through the 19th would be spring break. So that picking up the children on Friday, bringing him back that Sunday, the 10th, and then the 19th.
Okay.
Kids up. And then we were just kind of waiting to see what would be your ruling. But there's a possibility that he would like to see them this weekend. He could pick him up this Friday at 6 p.m. and then return him on Sunday at 5 p.m. I would have to just make sure that he's still on that same page now that he has to go pick him up. I know he's concerned about their sleep, their bedtime and that sort of thing. So we had initially talked about that, Your Honor.
Okay, understood. And again, this is the third weekend of the month, and I-35 from San Antonio to Bell County is problematic. But I always tell, since it's a door-to-door pickup and drop off, he gets there as close to 6 o'clock as he can. I always order the other parent to remain there until pickup, and then obviously the drop off the following Sunday at 6. So we're looking at least those two this coming weekend, and then spring break next month.
Yes,
How do
Your
how do I ask? I don't think I could be there at 6 p.m. if I get out of work at 4:45.
I know. I'm just saying it's usually
Oh,
6
okay.
to 6. But when I got people traveling in from Dallas or San Antonio, believe me, that's the norm. I got a lot of those folks. I tell the other party to just that they have to remain there until pickup, and y'all to if y'all get along well enough, text when you're on your way and text when you're close, because I've made that trip, and it just depends on traffic. I've been stuck between San Marcos and Kyle for 3 hours one night. So yeah, I know how it works there, because some of the grandkids were down in San Marcos, and yeah, I don't want to make that trip anytime soon. So, all right. So I'm looking at this coming weekend, sir, as soon as you can get there, ma'am. I'm sorry, and you do know where Miss Anderson lives, correct?
Correct.
All right, Miss Anderson, I'm looking at pick up and drop off at your residence as per the Texas Family Code. Is there any problem with that, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right then. So again, and y'all do get along well enough that y'all can deal with each other through either telephone conversations or texting. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So again, sir, just let us know when you're on your way and your approximate ETA. But ma'am, because of the traffic and the circumstances, you need to be there until he picks the children up this coming Sunday, Friday. And obviously, sir, if you're running late, coming back on Sunday, same deal.
Yes, sir.
I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't catch the time that you said for the pickup drop off this weekend.
It's 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the norm, Mr. Peeler, but mom has to remain at residence all evening until he picks up, because again, it's I-35. God help us.
And Your Honor, is it possible for you to require that the parties communicate through app close?
All right, I'll go ahead and set it up by app close. That's why I was asking whether they get along well enough. But ma'am, Miss Anderson, there's a third-party app out there called App Close. It's free. It's the #1 parenting app in the world. And I'll let y'all will need to communicate through that. Download it. It's both on Google Play and on iTunes. Just download it and y'all communicate through it, because it gives all kinds of snapshot information, that sort of thing. Okay, it keeps it's all in one spot. So in case something needs to come into court, we don't have to be jumping around a bunch of different apps. We can all get it from App Close. Okay.
And then,
all right, and again, I'm looking at spring break. And ma'am, sounds like he's on the same spring break. I'm sorry, which city you live in?
You talking to me?
No, Miss Anderson.
I live in Killeen, Texas.
All right, I know all Belton, Killeen, and Temple are all on the same spring break, and it sounds like he's on the same spring break. So he'll pick the kids up on the Friday of spring break and return them the Sunday after that. So he has them for the 8-9 days of spring break, ma'am. Again, that's in accordance with Texas law. That says the non-custodial party who lives more than 100 miles away gets spring break every year. Okay.
And keep the 6 p.m. pickup drop off for spring break as well.
Yes, sir. All right. Now I'm looking at coming back here, like I said, at 1 p.m. on the Wednesday, the 22nd. I'm going to go ahead and appoint Ms. Todd as the ad litem in this matter, Mr. Peeler. If Ms. Todd again, that's so close to the lunch hour, I should be able to get anybody in here at that time. Because again, we're going to be looking at 30 minutes for a pretrial. And that time I'll check everybody's calendar and see whether or not we're going to do this via Zoom, which I'm still doing it thanks to the Supreme Court, or does somebody really want to do this live before the court. Yeah, again, I'm going to prefer Zoom on this going forward. So I'm going to start with you, Ms. Henderson, Ms. Hernandez. Anything else you're asking the court to do here today? And then I'm going to go to Ms. Anderson. Thank you.
yes, Your Honor. May we have an instruction that the parties are to enroll in the app plus within 24 hours from the end of this hearing?
I'll give her 48 just in case.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day. People may have plans. Okay. So yeah.
I understand. I guess we're a little excited about him getting to see the kids. I jumped the gun there.
Well, yeah,
And then
because this is Tuesday, so 48 hours is plenty of time. And again, they still have each other's phone numbers. we got the court order in place no matter what. So thank you.
Okay. And then lastly, I'm sorry, one moment. Oh, there was an issue about health insurance. He had been trying to get a hold of Miss Anderson regarding putting the kids on his health insurance and taking them off the government assistant.
Well, the government, as of late, the government will not let you take kids off of Medicaid until they're sure we're clear of COVID. So everyone I hadn't had anybody successfully do it lately, so we can deal with that at the next hearing. If he wants to go ahead and put them on his, I won't charge him for it. Obviously, and I'll give him credit for any child support if he wants to go ahead and just put them on him and they can have dual. But as of the last year and a half, Medicaid has not been letting people take their kids off because they're worried about COVID still out there. So yeah. Okay.
And then there was one final issue, and I seem to have lost. Oh, I know what it was. During the time that the kids are not with Mr. Shepard, and even really when they're not with Mr. Anderson, when they're in each other's possession, can we get something specific about electronic communication, maybe a Zoom or at least
every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time is my standard. These are older kids, so it's 30 minutes. And they can use the app close FaceTime program for that. But obviously this Sunday it won't be necessary because they'll have them. But going forward, Mr. Anderson, every Sunday, 6 p.m. have the kids available to do a FaceTime visit with dad, okay?
Yes, sir. He's been.
Okay, y'all can agree to anything you want for his FaceTime, ma'am. But again,
he's been talking and seeing his kids. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay, ma'am, she's not saying he's not doing it. We're just making it part. I know you're not a lawyer. We're just making it part of the court order that you have to have them available on Sunday. See, people get different schedules. People get in disagreements. There cannot be a disagreement by every Sunday at 6 p.m. when he doesn't have the kids. Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Ms. Anderson.
I had a question.
Sir. Stop, Mr. Shepard. You got a lawyer. Ask your lawyer. Lawyers don't let their clients. First off, courts don't let the clients make statements without their lawyer running it through some type of testimony. And right now, if you have a question, you need to ask that of Ms. Hernandez, please. Okay, and probably not in open court. Okay, that's why they have attorney-client privilege. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Ms. Anderson, questions or anything else, ma'am?
About as far as the private hearing goes, where do I
You'll get a new
submit?
Zoom code for that, ma'am. As soon as I'm making that as soon as I get through with the hearing.
Okay, I was just trying to see where I submit like any proof or anything that I would need to submit to court.
This deal, ma'am, you really might want to talk to a lawyer. If you don't know how to submit proof properly, then it may not get in because I have to hold you to the same standard as if you were an attorney. And obviously, both Mr. Peeler and Ms. Hernandez will have the legal right to object to it. But there are lots of things on, there's lots of YouTube videos that show you how to get evidence in, ma'am, if you're representing yourself. So you might want to start watching those or otherwise seek your own legal counsel. Or you can ask at the ad litem if there's something that is that's in the kid's best interest of getting in. You can see if the ad litem wants to try to admit that based on her having represented the kids. I'm giving the kids a lawyer. Doesn't represent mom, doesn't represent dad, represents the kids, and will do what's in their best interest. So if you got something you think is in your kid's best interest that they get in, you can request the ad litem to do it, and she would.
Okay, thank you.
But again, remember, she's not your lawyer, ma'am. Thank you. All right, anything else, Ms. Anderson?
No, sir.
All right, thank you both. Okay. All right, folks, I'm looking at that March date. I'm going to make the Zoom code as soon as I get through here. And obviously, Ms. Hernandez, you can talk to Mr. Shepard and see what, and if he has would you like the opportunity to go in the breakout room with him to make sure there's nothing else that you need to bring up before we get through here, and I'll let everybody go, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll make it quick.
All right, then, Mr. Pierre, I'm going to go off the record for now. Mr. Anderson, hang around until Mr. Hernandez can talk to Mr. Shepard and come back and confirm there's nothing else we need to go over, okay? But for right now, we're off the record, and I'm going to go ahead and start making that Zoom code. Thank you.
Ms. Hernandez, Mr. Shepard, into a new breakout room.